Okay, welcome aboard, and let's go ahead and walk you through your automation. Now, before we even jump in and look at the workflows and start talking about all these technical things, let's make sure we both understand what's going on here and how you can manage this long after I'm gone. So, the way that I work is we call this an AI operating system. What this means is, of course, we have an AI. And of course, we have our automation. That's what we're going to be looking at here today. But we also have a database, a way to manage all of the information that the AI is going to process, and a front end. Now, we need to understand where all of this information is, because what this is going to do is result in our inputs and our outputs. And our outputs are what make it into our business. And if we can do this the right way, these inputs provide learning, and all of these systems actually complement each other in one way or the other. If you want more information on how this AI operating system works in detail, just let me know, shoot me a message, we can talk about it. But what we're going to be doing today, or excuse me, in the next minute, is we're just going to be talking about some of these sales workflows. What we're going to do is one, two, three different workflows all working together. What we have is the Google Calendar event is going to basically process, do research, and then what it's going to do is send you this PDF, or in this case, it's going to be an HTML for the time being, because there's lots of complexities about creating PDFs and saving this. What this PDF is going to do is then be saved to an Airtable database. This Airtable database is then going to be queried on a timer. This is going to be every morning for you. And then what this is going to do is actually email you the PDF so you're able to review this before your calls. And then the third one is post meeting. What's going to happen is Fathom post meeting. Fathom AI is going to send out your meeting summary, action plans, descriptions, participants, everything like that. And it's going to be formatted in a nice way. It's going to be emailed. And then we're also going to have HubSpot action items here that are going to be saved. So let's go ahead and look at each one of these just so you can understand what an actual complete workflow looks like in a business environment and how you can start to wrap your head around it. Now, before we even look at any of these modules, these little boxes, we need to understand the macro steps. And that's what these gray boxes are. So when we look at these, you're going to understand the steps that we take. And as we keep going, we're going to get more and more narrow. So you can see here, only get sales emails. And then what we're going to do for every participant, we're going to get the email history so we can start to really get some context and backwards understanding of what's happening in each of these events. And then what we're going to do is a process of enrichment, working with HubSpot and Apollo. This information is then consolidated and made in an interpreted way, and is interpreted in a specific way using one of our AI models. And then what we do is we basically go through a process of downloading some sales questions using some of your examples and what you like to use in your business. And then what else we have is we have the actual dynamic sales template generated. What this means is when we come here, we'll have to run it later, but we're going to get a beautiful HTML document that is then going to be saved to an Airtable record. So when we zoom out, we can see that there's only a few couple of steps, and it is quite linear. We are waiting for a calendar event. Once that calendar event happens, actually, let's zoom in. When we receive a calendar event, we're filtering for Happen Ventures in the names here. Then what happens, we can even do this a little bit better. Do it even more professional. Let's change the color, something people will see. And so now what happens after we get all of the participants, we want to extract only the most meaningful information. That's what we mean by split out the email. For every participant, we're going to go through the email history and enrichment process. And so we get their email history. We put this history into something that's easy to understand for our system, a JSON. We use Hubspot to get information about the company, about the person. And if there's nothing found, we go back to the start. Or we can continue, get actual detailed information, their work history, the location of their headquarters, past contacts that you have in common. And then we move on to the company. And then we make an HTTP call, a custom call to Apollo to get everything that's related to their contact information. In this case, we use it for LinkedIn. And then we have a nice prompt here that's going to consolidate its output. What we want to do is basically, we want to, again, consolidate all the information that we went through the loop. Okay, so if we were not to take this get all email summaries, we would only be going through one at a time, but actually we loop through multiple times and end up here. Then what happens for getting documents from Google Drive? We download it, we extract the text from it, we process it in a way that's going to work well later in the system. We make it more concise. Again, we download it, we process it, and then we generate our final script. We put this into an HTML format, and then we merge this together just so we have the most recent information, and then we save it to Airtable. So this is one of the workflows. Let's not save this. It works great now. So we have things saved in Airtable specifically because we are triggering this event the moment a new event is created. And this could be any time of the day or night this workflow will start. It is running on a 1-minute timer. We can always change that. But we have the date set for when it is created. So now every morning at 8 a.m., I believe, we're sending out the actual emails and document that you'll be able to use to that you'll be used. So very simple, a lot less steps here. What we're doing is we're extracting the record based on who's ready to send. We basically use a couple of flags from a dropdown. We're converting the actual HTML that we're saving into an actual HTML document, attaching it to the email, and then updating the record. So that's very straightforward. Now what the last flow is that we're working with is, now let's take a look at what a post email flow is going to look like. So we have here a webhook. Okay, the webhook is going to give us a URL that we want to go into Fathom to create. So if we go to Fathom and we can go into the settings if it loads quick enough, you're going to be able to see, well, who's that guy? Okay. You're going to be able to see that under API keys, we click Manage, and we can add a webhook. What this destination URL is actually the webhook inside of the automation or some other destination you want Fathom to send the data to. So we want to enter that, close that, and the moment we get anything back, it's going to populate here. What's going to happen is we're taking the best information, putting it into an email readable format. For every attendee here, we're going to process them one at a time, and each attendee is going to have an email drafted specifically for them, saved to your draft inbox. Simultaneously, for every attendee, we're going to search for that contact. We're going to basically get the date plus 3 days, and we're going to create an engagement for them. Basically, this is the action items flow here. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to be sending you a comprehensive document that is going to walk you through our automation and the concept of an AI operating system. Thank you so much for your time and working with us. And let me know if you have any questions in the chat below or in the comments, whatever.